Hi, I'm Jonda from New Smyrna Beach, Florida, and you're watching Etsy Shop Audits.
Why do you think like you're not getting the traffic on Etsy?
I had thought maybe it was, the keywords. I tried to do the research. I did it on eRank. It kind of like took off on the health and wellness and then just kind of slowly started dwindling, and now it's really slow.
All right, Jonda. So let me just kind of recap here everything that you sent in before the audit. So you have two shops right now. We're going to dig in. Shop name is Printables Resource. Plus you have one that's Admin Business Center. Shop ages, one started in 2020, one started in 2021. The niches are health and wellness, and the other one is small business owners. Sticking point, pretty much traffic, SEO. That is like the main thing that you wrote down. Total revenue is $3,900 on the one and $250 on the other. And income goal is $12,000 in 2024 and potentially make it a full-time job. That accurate?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Now, let's talk about first, why two shops? Let's start there.
Well, I thought that when I first started, that health and wellness was kind of what I thought the niche should be. It all started from the medical binder because I worked at a children's hospital at the time, and I saw parents come in and needed that. But I'm also an executive assistant, and I would be a resource for a lot of other EAs that would ask me about forms and how to do things. So that was just kind of like, well, maybe I would find a niche for that. It's not as popular, so I just kind of started it and kind of have left it there, but trying to figure out if I should combine the two or exactly what, since they're both digital products shops.
Okay. So, and you said that your main sticking point is the SEO, is like search engine optimization. Elaborate a little bit more on that.
Well, most of my traffic has come from Pinterest. So, I find when I post more on Pinterest, then I get more traffic and sales. And when you look at the research, the statistics there, that's kind of what it shows. But I'm not getting a lot of search on the Etsy search function. Okay.
And I'm just going to kind of throw it back to you. Why do you think that is on Etsy? Like, what do you think, like, if you could, like, just take a wild guess, like, why do you think like you're not getting the traffic on Etsy?
I had thought maybe it was, the keywords. I tried to do the research. I did it on eRank. And during COVID, it kind of like took off on the health and wellness, and then just kind of slowly started dwindling, and now it's really slow.
Okay. Chris, let's go ahead and pull up the main shop. Let's call this the main shop, because I think that's the one that did the most. So let's go ahead and take
this one.
This one, right, John? Yeah. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. So, and I see you've got a little QR code there already in there. That's perfect. Good. I like that. Now, if they scan that, where does that take them? Just curious.
It's a landing page to sign up for the mailing list.
Okay. All right. First thing, Chris knows already. He's already smiling because he was smiling because you're doing that. But the one thing that I'm going to point out here is your bit.ly link. Okay. So like action step number one, I want you to go to GoDaddy. I want you to buy a domain name, and I want you to point that domain name to that ugly little bit.ly link. Because no one's gonna be able to type all that in and remember it. They're gonna get one character wrong. They're never gonna get there.
Well, I've got like 10 domains, so I'll just use one.
Then take one of those. Yeah, take one of those and put that to use and start pointing that. That's like number one thing that I caught it like right away. Like I'm like, okay, you're probably not getting many people, if any people, to type that in.
No.
All of this stuff, I like the use of emojis. I like the breakdown of it all. You've got a Facebook group, it looks like.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
I also do private label rights.
Okay.
Creation. And so I have 6,400 people in that group.
Okay. All right.
They're not all active, but about 2,000 of them are.
So 6,400 people in that Facebook group. Why are they there?
My tagline is for curating resources for those who also want to learn how to create printables.
Oh, okay. So it's more or less for you showing people how to create printables as you've done.
Yes, and also, there's a whole community of PLR sellers, vendors, and I can share on my own group, and I get affiliate income as well.
Okay. Okay. So, and the only reason why I was going there is because, and so the people that buy from this shop, are they people that want to do that?
No, I mean, you'll see, I have the business section that I added a few PLR products.
Oh, okay. In your categories, is Chris, scroll down a little bit. Let's see if we can see in the categories.
Should say business.
Yep, business on top there. Okay.
So there's a few in there that you'll see that have the pink in the corner. Those are commercial use.
Oh, okay. So someone can buy it and resell it.
Correct. Okay. They need to change it up, but
sure. But it's like a template in a sense.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's interesting. Okay, good. What would you say is your top seller out of all these products?
It had been the medical binder. They're up at the top, the very first one, on the feature.
On the feature?
But now that it's slowed down.
Right there.
I created another one that I used a mock-up instead of this kind of template. And so it's selling better than this one is now. But the medical planner, the tube feeding chart, estate planning.
Okay. Okay.
So
there's really you're kind of tapping into a lot of different niches.
Yes.
Okay.
It started out with health, wellness, emergency kind of items.
Got it. Okay. Okay. And where did you get the idea to do these different ones? Hey, real quick, I wanted to give you a little behind the scenes on how these Etsy shop audits even happen. Every single month, Chris Schaefer and I, we meet and we batch record 3 to 4 of these episodes. Then they get edited and they get posted like the one you're watching right now. But what we decided to do is create what we call our Backstage Pass Club. This is where all of our club members, they get to join us on that recording as we're doing it live. The other cool thing is you're able to ask questions and you also can get access to the recordings before they ever air, immediately, raw and unedited. You even get all the questions that were asked that you might have missed because, well, maybe you couldn't attend that one live. So if you'd like to be part of our Backstage Pass Club and join our next batch recording session, head on over to brandcreators.com/club or click the link in the description. Now, let's get back to the audit.
I still work in healthcare at a full-time job. So just kind of knowing what people need.
Okay.
One of my latest things was a senior caregiver checklist.
I think these are great, but again, and you've watched some of the other shop audits that we do, and you probably know what's coming, is we have to figure out what is being actively searched for. And I get it. You're in the field, right? And you're like, oh, people need this. I'm going to create it. Oh, people need this. I'm going to create it. Right. And that's great. Right. Like you're probably right. They do probably need it, but they're not looking for it.
Right.
That's the big difference. And that's the thing that a lot of people struggle with. And it's funny, even my wife at times, she'll come up with an idea or something. I'm like, all right, show me the data. Like I need to see where people are actually actively looking. She's like, well, I don't, they're not, but I think that they would really, and I'm like, we need the data, right? If we have a store already and you want to throw that in there because shoppers are going to be going through there and they're going to be kind of like looking around, going down the aisles, and they're like, oh yeah, that's good. That's fine. But as your main lead in, right? Or a lead magnet, could also be phrased as that. We use lead magnets to get people interested in our stuff. Usually it's a free download of some kind. The same thing here. We have to find out what's going to bring people in the door. And so like, and I'm just using like you did okay. So for medical planner. Now I did some research a long time ago, just showing examples of like what's selling. And this lady was a nurse and she basically helped people with the exam, like passing your nursing exam or whatever, right? Or different exams to get to be to that point, right? And so she created this whole thing, and that thing was selling like so many, right? It was just cranking. So I'd be looking at that, be like, oh, I'm a nurse. I could create something like this. It's already selling. People are searching for it. Now I'm going to create that. Or something similar to it, or something that's aligned with it. Or maybe it's not the 100-page thing. It's a little segment of it that they needed, that the book has, but I just want to give them this one little sliver. I think that's the main thing. Obviously, you have the skill to do this, right? A lot of time, what you're doing is stuff that you know about. And secondly, you know how to put these guides together or these templates together. So like, to me, that's like half of it or more.
Right.
Now it's just, what is that thing that's already proven that people are searching? Would you say that there's something already right now that you have that people are searching for?
Well,
and do you have any data? Like, do you have you ran any Etsy ads?
Yes, I'm running ads right now. Okay. I just created a diabetic tracker. I did one in pink, one in blue. Okay. The blue has sold one. It's only been up for a week, I think, maybe close to 2. Okay. But I'm running, I think it's $2 a day or $3. But I've sold one, and that was blue. But I'm getting lots of views, but not a lot of clicks yet. And you said to wait for 100. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So I think I've had like 27.
But how many? Okay, so I'm glad you brought this up. I like 100 clicks, but I'm also going to look at the views. If I'm getting thousands of views and I haven't gotten my 100 clicks yet, then we got a problem with the image. We got to play with that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? How many views would you say that you've had so far running those ads?
I think there was about, when I looked at it yesterday, it was about 3,000 total for the 2 of them.
Okay. So 3,000 total. How many clicks have you had?
27 clicks.
27?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's not terrible. Chris, what would that work out to? I know you're doing some quick math there.
Just under 1%.
Under 1.
So
okay.
We're on the high end of below where we would want to see it.
Yeah.
Like just sneaking up on that 1%, which is what we like to use as kind of that bottom line click-through rate. And so the question that I would have is, are those keywords relevant?
Yes.
Right? Where we're getting all of those impressions. And if they are, then we're doing something wrong with the title or the image, because that click-through rate should be higher if all of those impressions are relevant.
I did go through and check those. I clicked some off because some were words that were, I don't know, French or something, so there were probably about 10 that I turned off.
Were they clicks though?
A couple of them were not.
Okay. Not all of them. Yeah. Cause if you got the views, obviously you see it and you're like, well, that doesn't make sense. I'm going to turn it off anyway. But if it got clicks, then that would be one that you'd be like, yeah, I don't want that getting clicks and it's eating up my budget. Okay. So 3,000, Chris, what would you say to that? 3,000 views in about a week and a half. What would you say? Is there demand there?
So it depends on the relevance of those keywords, right? But assuming they are relevant outside of the handful that we turned off, there's definitely demand there, right? And the other way to check this is by taking a look at what's selling for things. John Doe, were those on the medical planners? Like, what were the actual ads that were running?
They're under diabetes.
So like diabetes care?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Diabetes tracker, I think is what I named it.
Somebody's going to correct my spelling here. Tracker. I'm also probably the only person in the world that every time someone says diabetes, I can only think of Wilford Brimley.
Yeah.
That's them right there.
Okay.
So we actually have 3 from you. We have 2 diabetes planners and 1 glucose tracker. And so, Scott, looking at these 2, well, I guess, Jonda, are these 2 different things, or is it just a color variation?
It's a color variation and a different cover.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's obviously a lot of competition here, but the question is...
Yeah, question is that.
What is the sales volume?
Yep.
If we're looking at this, right, when we sort by total sales, let me sort by monthly sales just to see.
Well, and Chris, the other thing I'd want you to do is go into where the filters are and just put in the word diabetes. Hey, I wanted to cut in here real quick. If you're wondering what tool we're using to gather all of this information and to really make these important decisions on products, well, the tool is called Everb. It's the only tool that we personally use for everything Etsy. They have everything from product research, keyword research, and they also offer email marketing now. That tool you can get access to absolutely free when you visit brandcreators.com/Everb, and you'll get 10 free searches for the month. You can try it out before you invest in this tool. My recommendation is every single Etsy seller should be using this tool. So if you want to try it, go to brandcreators.com/Everb, and you can go ahead and get access to it immediately. All right, let's get back to the audit. We'll just put that in there.
You're just trying to get me to spell stuff wrong.
I know. There you go.
Right. And so what the very first thing that sticks out to me here, Scott, is that as soon as we do that, that sales volume kind of goes away, at least on the monthly side. Right. So
well, yeah, go ahead and sort it again, because sometimes that needs to be redone. Yeah. There you go. So there's a diabetes meal plan.
I have,
and we're seeing 36 of those.
Okay.
Diabetes journal.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Food lists, daily sugar tracker, which is kind of what you're talking about there.
But let me just pause. Okay. What do you want to see per month that you sell of this for you to be like, okay, I'm going to create, more of these, or, this is worth my time? Because this is where it comes down to your target.
Right. I guess ideally I'd like to just be able to say it is worth my time of doing it. Because I do like creating. I know how to do it.
Yep.
I guess $1,000 a month, I guess, just to be a start.
Just on this one product?
No, I mean just the shop as a whole.
But what I'm getting at is like, okay, so for this one example, right?
Mm-hmm.
The best one right now, which isn't even exactly what you're selling, is the diabetes meal plan, and that's 36. So that's one a day at $10. Yours is cheaper than that, right? Another diabetes food list, 17. Blood sugar tracker, 13, right? So I guess, here we go. Blood sugar. Let's try that now. Let's see if that.
So the rationale behind swapping that keyword is most people are going to type in the thing that they're looking for. They're not trying to track their diabetes. Mm-hmm. They're trying to track their blood sugar, right? At least that's how I would think of that. Mm-hmm. And I think part of this is you are in the medical field. So you're using the terminology that would be used in the medical field. versus the terminology that might be used by someone at home. If your husband comes home from the doctor, he's like, hey, got diabetes, we need a tracker, right? Well, what are we tracking? We're tracking my blood sugar, right? Okay, so you're going to go to Etsy, you're going to type in blood sugar tracker, something like that. So I'm looking just because I'm curious to see if we get a different set of results.
Yeah.
When we start to sort this out, right? So I'm going to sort this by monthly sales again. And we see that there are some different ones that are popping up here, right? The demand doesn't change a lot, but we're starting to see some different products that we didn't see before, right? This diabetes journal popped up for both, something to note. But we are starting to see, right, medical planner, some of those kinds of things pop up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess what I'm looking at here is the demand, right? Mm-hmm. And I think as people watch this back and they watch all the other ones we've done or any videos that we talk about this, it's usually going to come down to this, right? We have to know, is there even the potential to get enough sales to hit your goal? And you're selling a digital product, which, yes, it's got high margins, but it's low cost or low price. Mm-hmm. So for you to get to the $1,000, you got more profit, but yet less of it because it's not that expensive. So you have to sell a lot more. So if that's the case, we need more demand. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I think it's going to come down to, it might not be the diabetes or the blood sugar thing. It might be something else in the medical field, in nursing, in something like that. So Chris, if you go into the nursing, put in there like nurse test or something like that, or nurse exam or something like that. Yeah, they just had nursing student just came up. And then just run the numbers on this. Run the Everb. Yeah. And then, sort it. There we go. There, the complete nursing. 1,530 sales. Total sales, 70,000.
In 4 years.
In 4 years. 1,530 sales a month.
Okay.
You know, now they're selling this for $120. Right?
Now, Scott, the important thing to note there is it's printed and shipped.
Yes, right.
But still, right, if we could sell the digital version at $50 instead of $9, right? Like, here, go take this to Staples and print it yourself and save $50, right? Like, it's not that big of a deal.
Now, go to her shop and let's run the numbers there. Nursing in the Making, by the way, is the name of it.
Okay.
Have you seen this one before, Jonda?
No, I haven't.
217,000 sales.
Nice.
Just looking at this, I'm seeing two different potential angles, Scott. I think the one for healthcare professionals probably has more obvious demand, but the other side of this, and Jonda, there's kind of a split right now in what I saw from your products. Some of them are used by healthcare professionals. Some of them used by people in their own home that need to do their own medical care. And so what I'd like to see you do is kind of look through both of these and say, you know, I don't really want to write the stuff for nurses, but I'm really passionate about making sure people have a food log, have their blood sugar monitor, have all of the things they need to be able to care for themselves in their own home. If that satisfies the demand that you need, awesome. If not, then we need to look at something like this. So there's two different ways that we could take all of this stuff, and you kind of have a split path in the store right now. Scott, when we see this, do you want to see this by monthly or by total?
Yeah, monthly. Yeah. So, I mean, what's the complete badge? What was that?
This one?
No, when you switched it, it went back the other way. So I lost it. There it is. Yeah. What's that? It's a card pack.
So I'm assuming these are medical badges, like different charts.
Okay. So here's the cool thing. So someone in the comments, one of our Backstage Pass Club members had said basically the same thing. What about selling handy reference sheets that are portable in a pocket? It's almost like a deck of cards.
Yeah.
In a sense, right? Or card size.
And that's kind of what this is, right? Like, this is their blood sugar badge, so they know what the right things are. You know, here's the metabolic panel. Here's what the numbers should be on that. So I think there's a couple different interesting ways that we could approach this, but that's, you know, kind of a pocket reference sheet, right?
Well, and then here's the other thing. Okay. So like we said, you're attacking it from one angle of like, okay, a profession. So in this case, we're saying nurses, but it could be veterinarians. It could be like whatever, right? Like if you're preparing for that profession. But in this case, let's say it is nurse. And you're like, okay, a nurse would need this. And you can even like a travel nurse, like travel nurses, you know, are ones that it's a big deal now. Like there's a lot of travel nurses. So it's like, that's one angle, but then you got people that are also taking care of their elderly parents or whatever. Right. So you have that. So then you have little handy, like you said, cards or sheets or trackers that can do that. But I think if you look at it with these two angles, you can create products for both sides. The other thing you could do is there's probably another angle here that and again, I don't know if you would be interested in it, but would be like print on demand, right? Like, so if there was a condition that someone had, or even diabetes, right? Like some people are like, yeah, I'm a diabetic and I'm taking care of it. And there's like a saying with it or something, right? Like that goes along with it. Or maybe it's a nurse that is in the making and it's like nurse in the making, right? Now you have a shirt or a sweatshirt, or you graduate and you now are a nurse. Now there's a graduation gift for a nurse, right? So there's all of these other things that could come that could also be potential products that aren't just digital products. Again, that's another side of it. Maybe you just want to stay digital, totally fine. But just another thought that I had kind of thumbing through this.
Well, that's what I was trying to figure out, how I would do a print on demand with pages that are already there.
Yeah.
Because I'm not wanting to print them out and put them in a binder and send to people.
You can have that stuff printed in because they sell journals, or, you know, you basically have a book and they'll print it and ship it. And it'll be spiral bound, or you can have it, you know, whatever the other binding type is. Like you can totally do that. They print on demand companies do that.
All right. I just thought it was like KDP or something that was the only. You
could do KDP, but you could do it. I mean, I believe Printify even has that option. If not, you could just put in print on demand, you know, books or something like that. And you'll probably find a company.
Okay.
I know there's companies out there that print cards, you know, cause I was helping someone with,
like decks of cards.
Yep. Like a deck of cards, and you can create images for one side, two sides, and you can have those printed, and they weren't even that expensive. So there's options there for even doing that stuff. But again, what we're looking at here is, yeah, look at that. That's great too. Complex. Yeah. Farm. Yeah. I mean, that's flashcards.
If these are the ones we were looking at in the back end, this is doing like 20 grand a month. Yeah.
Yeah. 29 grand.
Yeah. Right. Do you think even if you couldn't get these print on demand, that might be worth getting a few of these printed in advance and sending through the mail afterwards? Right. Like, but yeah, we can definitely get this type of thing print on demand. Are you going to find it through your typical POD source, e.g. Printify? Maybe not. It depends on exactly what we want to do. But there are a ton of print shops that will do these kinds of things for us. And once they've done it once, a lot of times they'll be willing to do it on demand. Or we can start to take a look at, you know, very limited runs of some of these things to see how we sell. You know, let's order 50 of them and see what happens. Because if it's working, then we can figure out how to fund that. But even just going to Google, if we go to POD, like just look for POD flashcards, Smart Press comes up right away, right? So custom flashcard printing, and they'll do, you know, flashcards. They'll do a bunch of different stuff. So there are some options, and that was just the very first result that came up. I'm sure there's a lot of other things.
Hey, Chris. So Catherine just posted stethoscope name tags are in high demand. There you go.
Oh.
You know, then, you know, Jenny said, when I was in nursing school, I had a few different pocket size reference sheets. I used them a lot. So yeah. And then Catherine just put in here, search for flashcards, a product used for education children, you know? So yeah, great ideas. And this is why I love the Backstage Pass Club, by the way, because we get this live interaction and ideas and it can help each other. So I really appreciate you guys doing that in the chat. Yeah, you're helping Jonda, and you're helping us come up with ideas. So what do you think of this like right now? I know we're throwing a lot at you, Jonda, but like, what are you thinking like right now?
Well, I think right now the home care is what I've been kind of focusing on. I could branch out to the other professional side of healthcare, which I haven't really done. I do have a few other things that are like almost ready to add to my shop that are more healthcare based, like a senior wellness planner, and then maybe some healthy meals kind of thing. I guess my big thing right now is, while I am mainly selling the health printables, there's also in the business section, I added actually a quick reference guide template, kind of like the reference cards, but for 8.5 by 11. And those have been selling quite well. And so that's why I was kind of like, do I take the business part out of my shop and put it in the other shop, or do I? That's what I'm trying to figure out, if I put them together or not.
Yeah, I know. And it's a common issue when you have two different things that you're doing, right? It's kind of like you have two separate businesses, or at least two separate audiences.
And this was just because somebody had told me I should combine and put the business in here. So this was a testing ground. And when I did the cheat sheet, and now it's selling. So now I'm like, do I stop and then put it in the other one?
I guess it also comes down to, at the end of the day, you know, like, what could you build up that would be more long-term, I guess, for me personally. Like, I think you could keep it all under one roof and just be a printables company, right? Like, if that's what you wanted to do, and you're just going to roll out kind of like what you've been doing. My thing is like, what you've been doing has just been kind of okay. Right. And I think what we just realized is that other lady that's going all in on nurses is crushing it.
Yeah.
There's a big, big difference. Like, she's not doing anything on anything else. Right. It's it. She's like, I'm going to own this, and I'm going to. Now you might say, well, how do I compete with that? Very easily. If there's that much demand, there's room for more people to come in there. Right. And, you know, you're probably going to be a little bit less at first, and you don't have to be selling exactly the same stuff, but you're going to learn from kind of like that demand that's being established because of the sales. Like, I'm not even looking at her views or her keywords or anything like that. I'm just looking at, like, there's proof. There's a lot of sales that came through there. So there's no guesswork. So I guess what I'm saying here is, like, I think it's fine that you have that other, you know, the business stuff going, but I personally think there's more upside to the other. And I think it's just finding that right angle. Like you said, you're doing more for like the in-home, but are you doing for the in-home nurse that's traveling to client to client to client?
Right. Yeah.
And that I think could be the potential difference maker, right? We don't have to go directly at this shop and treat them as a competitor, right? At this other shop that we were just looking at, right? We can take what they are doing for nursing in general and say, does this apply to assisted care or in-home care, right? Whatever the current terminology is. Because I will tell you, people who are doing in-home care a lot of times, not registered nurses, right? So if registered nurses need these flashcards, or they need the badges to have the quick references, that in-home caregiver probably needs them too. Now, do we have to validate demand on those things? Yeah, but we also have the opportunity to figure out how to apply this, right? And so if that's the thing that you're really passionate about, we just have to do a little bit more research to figure out if there's anybody that's serving that niche, and if there's demand enough in that niche to meet your goals. And if not, then we can always niche up to include some more, you know, travel nurses or whatever other resources they might need. But we can use these products as a potential jumping off point to say, all right, if nurses need all of these badge cards to remember these things, is there a way that I can make this usable and readable for an in-home caregiver? And can I do a similar idea for somebody who's not an RN, but is, you know, a part-time caregiver or full-time in-home caregiver, so that they have the resources they need? They have the blood glucose monitor. They might not call it that. They're going to call it their blood sugar paper or whatever, right? We just have to figure out the terminology that they're using. But we have a great jumping off point here to say, look, if these are the things that nurses need, is there a way that we can apply this to the caregiver in the home? And if so, then there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah. And let me just say, like, look at all these over 20 in carts, right? Like, yeah. Like if I had your skill and your knowledge, I'd be like excited as heck, because this is like a great opportunity for you, I think. And if you hone in, I think the other thing is, Chris, go back up and just look at some of those of the images. Look at how nice the images look too. Like, I just think like I would learn from what they're doing. They have like, and look at that, like they're fanning through it because they have a book, but you don't. You have an iPad though, or something, right? You do what she's doing there on the one, right?
Right.
So I don't believe that in the very beginning it was this elaborate, but she's grown to that. She's doing pretty well. She probably hires someone to do some of this stuff. But what I'm saying is like, there's a lot of potential here for you. And I would learn from like just the images that are being created as a thumbnail, the videos that are being displayed, and then just some of the topics. And if you could come up with something that's even a subtopic of that, we at least know that there's clear demand here for this.
Okay. No, that's good.
I wanted to also say, no, I was going to say, Catherine needs to get like student of the week or something, because she's like putting in some really cool stuff. Flashcards for residents of assisted living, memory care, etc.
Oh, nice.
I like that too. And then she also said growing elder care and home care population is a definite trend. So, yeah.
I wanted to point this out, Scott, because this is a question we get all the time. And it's something I want to challenge Jonda with a little bit. So I know we're mostly a printables store, right? Like everything that you've created up to this point is a digital file. The question that we always get is, should I sell a printed version? Is it worth my time? The answer is yes, right? We see in this case, they offer digital version of this, but they also offer a printed and laminated version of the same thing. And the reason for that is twofold. One, especially if you're going to be focusing on the home care market, most of the people that we're dealing with there are not super hyper tech savvy. And two, even if they are, maybe they don't want to use the stupid iPad. Maybe they just want to write it down, right? And if they can write it down and wipe it off or whatever that is, even better, right? But if we give them that choice, then we can capture even more of the market, because you're not going to get the people that are like, I hate the iPad. It's the dumbest thing ever.
Right.
And I don't want to, who wants a marker? Like, it's just going to end up all over my arm. You avoid both of those groups of people and you get sales from both for not a lot more work and about 20 cents more in terms of creating the listing once. So we get to take advantage of both.
Yeah, we got another one from Woodcrafter in your pocket. Memory care, home health is something that is needed badly for dementia and Alzheimer's care workers. And then Catherine said, I have over 40 years in healthcare. Cheat. So that's good. So we appreciate
using
that.
Your resources
thank you.
is not cheating, Catherine. Using your resources is not cheating.
That's right. That's right. So, okay. So let's kind of wrap this up. I mean, we threw a bunch at you. I didn't know it was going to go in this direction. I think it went in a good direction. And I think everything that you have, the ability, the skill, like the knowledge, like it's all there. I think it's now focus. It's like we've said so many times on these audits. It's like a lot of times it's the shiny object and it's like, oh, but I can do this and I can do that. So my question to you is kind of like 60-day, 90-day plan. Like, what do you feel like you're going to do and that you're able to do after going through this audit?
I'm going to look more into actually both venues, I think, of both in-home care and then also the professional side, maybe the flashcards, quick reference. So I think I can do those easily enough, and then also look at maybe the printing of a book and have that available to ship as well.
I think that's great. I think that's perfect. So I would say, and that's probably enough, right? I think we've done enough research together today to say, okay, we validated demand over here, right? There is demand. It's picking the right sector, if you will, of like what we're going after, and then just honing in on that. So, I mean, I'm excited for you because I think you've got everything it's going to take. And I think you'll surpass that $1,000 little tiny goal that you got for yourself. Like, I really, truly do.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I just want to ask one quick question.
Sure.
So back to the medical binder that I had, that is actually the same thing, but one has like the actual mock-up. And then, as you can see, that most of my other products don't. Do you think I should be using a more photographic mock-up rather than what I've been using?
Yeah, let's take a look
based on
here.
what the other lady had. So if you see that, the health tracker there has that's the mock-up.
That one right there? Yeah.
That is selling better than the one that was right below it. Or two below, I guess.
So it's this one and this one?
No,
what we're talking about?
The first one on the left, and then scroll down a little bit more. That one, the medical planner with the little.
Yep. So it's either this one.
That's the one that's selling better than the one that I started with, this one.
Yep.
And if we look at what's going on over here, what do we see?
Yeah.
It feels like they're getting more, right? So this is the other shop, just in case people didn't catch that. And if we look at what's going on here, it's everything that's included, right? So especially when you have something that's a printable, it's important typically to let people know exactly what it is that they're getting. This, to me, it says 80 plus pages, but it doesn't necessarily feel like I'm getting as much as I'm getting here because there's a bunch of other stuff. I don't necessarily know what it is, right? But this, to me, feels like that. The real answer to this question is, one, it depends. But the factor that we're going to be looking at here over time is that conversion rate, right? And our click-through rate. So when we get impressions from ads, which one do they click on more from the main keywords?
Yeah.
And then if they're clicking, are they buying? What we see here right now is pretty even, right? This is a 0.9, 1.02. So this one's converting slightly better. That may just be a statistical anomaly at this point, right? Because we're very, very close. But what we want to look at is the main keywords that would be driving this. So if we go into our beta search analytics report, and Scott, can I just say, like, I really hope that someday I can stop saying beta search analytics.
I know, right?
It's been like 2 years. I don't know. The search analytics report inside the marketing tab in Etsy and the ads data to see which keywords and then how many sales are coming from those keywords. Probably just based on what else is happening in the market, this is more of the right way to go. Just because it looks like the busier images are leading to that. But we're always going to want to rely on the data at the end of the day to be able to figure that out.
But I would say what I would like to see here, even though this one has done better, I think it can do even better versus just leaving it. Go back to the other one, Chris, if you can. Yeah, that one.
This one?
So, yeah, what I would like to see, like, it's showing more, but not really anything useful. And what I mean by that is I would take all of the images that are inside and I would scatter them on the bottom, right? And then I would plant it over top. Yeah, like that other image down there that you had, Chris. No, the other one, go up. That one. I would take that, get rid of medical binder, digital downloads, all that other stuff. And I would take them, maybe make them more scattered, more like they're laying down, flopped over top of each other. You can't really tell everything that make it out. And then I would drop the cover over top with a drop shadow, right? Or an iPad, or you know what I mean? Or something like that to make it look digital. If you go back to the nursing, there we go, right? So if we look at this, it's like you see, all of the other, items that are included.
Okay.
Say around it, even as little as that is on the bottom there where it says schedule, you can see a little top half of the, click on it, make it bigger again, Chris. Yeah. So if you, right on the bottom, see on the bottom there where it says schedule, like just that little top, you can't, you see it though. Right. And then you got these other little ones and you got the other, and you got the tabs, right? It shows more of what you're getting inside versus it just being like a flat image with a coffee cup.
Yeah. Right.
So that's what I would like to see. And then if you really wanted to kick it up a notch, I'd put it on the iPad and I'd have a camera over top and I'd scroll through it.
Okay.
And then that'd be your video placement.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look at
and
that.
if you look at her video here, it's the same thing.
It's the same
because she doesn't want you to think it's just this one thing, even though all of those things are in the book, right? So this video is literally the same thing as the photo, just in motion, where it looks like a ton of different things that you're getting, even though they're all kind of self-contained inside of that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, again, that's something she's built over time. But it's like, you know, you could still get the same concept because it's worked. You know what I mean? Like it, and to me, she's getting the eyeballs, but she's also getting the clicks. Chris, did we look at the conversion rate on hers? Did you look at that?
I did, just not recently. Jonda, while I'm pulling that up, is there a reason you put your name as a keyword in the title? I just noticed that.
Somebody mentioned that it would be a good idea when people can't remember the name of your shop, and if you have a weird name, to put your name in. So I don't know. I did it. I don't know.
I was just curious because I don't know that I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, again, now, so whenever you have that much traffic too, your conversion rate tends to go down because it just means you're getting a lot more traffic. Like they got 4 million views. Okay. It's crazy over almost 4 years.
It's only 1 million views a year, Scott.
I know. Right. But it's at a 1.62% average conversion rate. And it's got a 13% review ratio. So that's good. Okay. So, you know, I look at this as like, okay. And again, Chris, we're looking at this one. You can go probably to another one and again, analyze, you know, like one of the other ones that's done well. Like, yeah, look at this one because it's
look at a digital one.
Yeah. See, that's what I like right there. I would even show your hand in there with or just even get a mock-up that's got it. That's 1.66. Yeah.
Okay.
So like, it's another good example of like, just look at this model. There you go. See, there you go. Yep.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah.
Great.
I mean, yeah, I think you add these other things like we're talking about, it's just going to take your conversion from when you get 100 visits to maybe you're converting at like a 0.8, you're like now at a 1.5, right? And that makes all the difference when you start to get traffic. Right.
Okay. Yes.
All right. So I know that was a lot, but we want to make sure that you get everything that you need, but we also want to make sure you don't get overwhelmed. So you got the plan, 60 to 90 days. We're going to want to hear back from you, and you can report back and let us know how you did. And hey, even if you want to send us some of your screenshots and stuff to kind of show us along the way, we'd love to see that too. You can just email them to us, support@brandcreators.com. And yeah, we'd love to see them.
Great.
Anything else before we wrap this up? Are you good?
I think well, let me just ask the other things that are in the shop that aren't healthcare related.
Yep.
Do I leave them? Do I pull them out?
I think right now I would leave them. And then if you start to build up that momentum and you see that they're not selling, then I would just probably just archive them.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to matter one way or the other right this second. Right. I don't think you're going to get penalized because you have those in there. It's like if someone did come in there, they're like, oh, they sell nursing stuff and they sell this other stuff. But I think eventually you're going to want that to be like someone comes in the store and they're like, oh, look, I'm in the right place. I'm in a, you know, specific shop catered towards this.
Yes. Okay.
Right?
Good.
All right, cool. All right. So you got homework, get it cracking.
I
will. So that's a wrap for this Etsy shop audit. But if you want to watch more, well, you can find some more right here. And if you do, well, I'll see you there.